I've learned is never run with hot coffee. Never do it.
Are you ready to take your investment game to the next level? Introducing Digital Investor, your ultimate guide to mastering the digital marketplace. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Digital Investor brings you cutting-edge game theoretical strategies, expert insights, and real-time tips and tactics to analyze, evaluate, invest, and grow your wealth. Don't miss out on the digital revolution. Visit www.nickblacknext.com and start your journey with Digital Investor today. Are you ready to take your investment?
She wants to work overtime. Someone's trying to get that paycheck. Am I right? All right. This whole setup. The other one. Bam. Oh, that's not the one. That one? That one. I think that's right. Let's get everybody in here. Hello. Hello, 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 hello. You guys don't remember, but in the very beginning, when we did this show a few years ago, well, it would be quite a few years ago. It was like right before COVID. We started doing this, and we used to go through every comment, because it was only like 8. It's like 8 of us, 8 people. I will say this though. Of the 8 people that started, I don't know if any of them are here. I think there was one point, I think, where every single person that started with us had made $1 million in crypto. I think. I'm almost certain. I don't know. There's a couple people that left. I don't know about them. Like there was our buddy Lance. He got mad at me one time, I think because I was shit talking Ripple. Anyway, he got mad. But I think everybody else became a millionaire. Everybody. If you can imagine it. Holy crap, that's good. Instead of coffee, I got a hot cocoa, but I put the same amount of creamer as you would put in a coffee in a hot cocoa. You know what? It's really effing good. But I think it's the coffee that makes me curse. So we'll see. We'll see if my cursing has been quelled by my lack of caffeine. We'll see. All right. So we're going to go through and we're going to do our ceremonial hello. Oh, overconfidence effect. Someone to have excessive confidence in their own answers to questions. It's funny that you do that again, Cruisin'. One of the things I was going to go back into as we kind of start this new investment year off is cognitive biases, because I think now people are in a good position to make a lot of money, a lot of currency. Can't really say money. Money is, that nebulous term that's anything that could be exchanged for a good or a service or extinguish debt. Anything. If you grab some mud and form it into the shape of a bird and someone will take that as payment for anything, you just created money, bro. So money is a much more loose, it's a much sloppier term. When people say, oh, I got money in the bank. You do, but more precisely, you probably have currency units in the bank. You also have probably a bunch of liabilities flowing through that bank too. That's a different animal. And we probably should cover, the personal balance sheet, which is like simple, like family 101, income, expenses, assets, liabilities, cash flow. So at some point we should do that. So, but we're not going to do that just yet. But we will probably get into cognitive bias. That's something we should probably knock out. So yeah, we will probably look at that. We may do some of that today. I got some good news articles. So yeah. All right. Let's see. Hello. 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 It's got a lot of hellos going on here. What's going on? Is anybody here from that original group? Do you guys remember that back in the day group? I know Nara, she works for Hypercycle now. She was part of the original group. Yeah. Bitcoin is up $4,000 in less than 4 days. I think Bitcoin is up $4,000 in less than 14 hours. I think that's just in the last 12 hours, isn't it? These things go straight up and straight down. Ty, what up? Good chance we might be working together doing some cool stuff. We'll see. We might be working together on multiple fronts. We'll see. Yeah. LA is a cool place, man. I was telling my buddy Shannon, we were like, if you're walking across the road and you see someone that looks like Paul Rudd, it's probably Paul Rudd. Like it might be Paul Rudd because apparently he doesn't age, but I was, we were my buddy Steve has a coffee shop right across, kind of adjacent from a barbershop. And at that barbershop, and it's just like it's not like a fancy ass barbershop, it's just a regular one. And this guy was like waiting in line behind this other dude. He's like, man, this guy takes forever. And he's like, don't you know who that is? He's like, what? That's Captain America, dummy. I'm like, oh, it was the guy that plays Captain America. Apparently, his haircut is important to him. So, fair play. Fair play for important haircuts. Anyway, yeah. Okay, let's get through it. We got some cool news we're going to talk about. Let me put the banner up so you guys can see what we're talking about. We got some Robinhood news, which is funny. Those motherfuckers never go to jail, which they all should have, but they don't. BlackRock, some interesting BlackRock news, some interesting Sonium news, which you probably heard about this. If you didn't, it's pretty interesting. You're starting to see a lot more mainstreaming, not just in the layer ones, but in layer twos, which is pretty cool. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Oh, good morning. Yeah. Morning. I've only been here 3 years. Binge watch the older ones. All right, Michael. So if you were here 3 years, that means, oh God, you came right in. Did you get in the craziness of 21 or the cascading bankruptcies of 2022 and people going to jail and everybody? Orange was the new green. That was 2022. I don't know how many. Oh gosh, I bet there was $100 billion worth of collapses. FTX, there's 30 or 40. Well, who knows how they peg it to the market, but 30 or 40. Three Arrows Capital, those two douchebags, Kyle Davies and Zhu Shu, those mofos should be in jail. Of course, the constant bullshittery that is Tether and their fake accounting. But they didn't really unwind. They depegged to like 91 cents, but they came right back. So did USDC. They both came right back. The difference is USDC actually has money. They have dollars. They have currency. You had, what was BlockFi, that lending platform where the guy was lending? He was basically getting people's Bitcoin and then giving it to Grayscale and then like lending it to degenerate borrowers so they could go gamble it. That got whacked. Celsius got whacked. That's Alex Mashinsky. Alex, I have 200 millions of my own monies on the platform. Mashinsky. All you need to do is listen to that asshole for about 13 seconds, and you knew that dude was going to be wearing orange, being some guy's girlfriend at some point in his career. So yeah, I think he's waiting. I don't think they've started his trial yet. He pled. I think he pled to some stuff. Didn't anyway. That was probably Celsius was probably, someone have to look that up, 10, 15 billion. So between Celsius, Three Arrows, BlockFi, Voyager, I forgot Voyager. Although that was much less. That was not, I don't think that was even $1 billion. But you start adding these things up and then you pile on Luna. Remember all those dumb assholes who believed you could make 20% a year on year on stablecoin? And that wouldn't do. Anybody here want to do the math? You guys want a fun thought experiment? I'm going to give you one. This is today's first homework. Are you ready? Everybody get out your calculator. I want you to take let's say the average portfolio is $100,000, and it wasn't, because the people that were piling into Luna were piling in stupid money. I had a client that had $560,000 in UST. He's like, well, I'm getting 20%. I was like, I never told you to do that. He's like, yeah, but I just thought. I'm like, don't think. Get your money out now. All your money now. Luna unpegged the same day that we talked about this. He was so lucky. I don't know if you guys remember how Luna UST worked. UST was their stable coin. Luna was their fake. Well, they were both fake. You would basically use Luna to create UST. That was like and then you would take the UST, their stable coin, and you would park it and lock it up, and you would get 20% annual return. So I want everybody here, let's use my buddy's example. No, let's keep it simple, $100,000. And I want you to do that times 1.2. And then you know how you can just go times 1.2 and then equals. If you get 20% year on year, you have to do 1.2 because you have to do the 100% plus the 20%. So that 100K is making 20K on the first year, and then it's making more because now on the second year it's 20% of your 100K plus your 100 that you made plus your 20, so now it's 120K. I want you to do that math and just go out 20 years. If anybody here can go 20 years out and just tell me what that number is. It's fucking mind-numbing is what it is. Go out 20 times, just 20 years. You know, hey, look, if I could just park my money, get 20%, no big deal. Dude, if there was anything on earth where you could park your money and get 20% year on year forever, everyone on the fucking planet would do it. No one would invest in shit anymore. This is all anyone would do. Governments, they'd quit issuing debt. They would come and buy whatever the fuck you're selling. If you could guarantee 20% per year forever, everyone on earth would do it because there's no such thing. For those of you that do know, what do you think? Well, many of you know this. What do you think the average junk bond pays? Junk, what they call high yield if you're a fancy type, if you're a fancy equity whore, high yield, junk bonds. These are companies that have a 50% chance of insolvency or failure. 50, meaning they pay you 6%, 6.5%, 7% maybe, depends on if you're Leon Fink. They pay you 6 to 7% on junk. Companies that might not exist next year. That's what they're paying on junk. How on earth can you imagine the risk of something that guarantees you 20%? When you hear these dudes guaranteeing you these big numbers, it's bullshit. It's not possible. Now, you may get that by investing. You may get that because assets can appreciate and, all sorts of crazy stuff can happen. But there is no universe where you can guarantee, and there's no government that can guarantee that unless they're debasing their currency by an equal or greater amount. Why governments can promise a return in their currency is because they can print that currency into obsolescence. You can't. We can't. Now, in crypto, you'd say, well, what about these staking platforms that'll pay you back 20% in their currency? Like, for instance, Libra is going to have a pool that pays 25%. Yes, because they're subsidizing their income, part of their income, to pay basically fees. They're paying you a kind of a participation fee in their token. Remember, they have a big giant basket of their token that they minted. They minted their token. They can give you their token until they run out. If that pile got big enough, they'd have to wind that down. They couldn't do that forever. In their token, governments can give you their token. That's all they're doing. They're giving you their funny money token that they mint at will. But either the asset is debasing as fast as they're printing it, meaning you're not gaining anything. Notionally you are, but in real terms you're not. Because in real terms, it's what it actually costs. So if you make 20%, the thing will be worth 20% less on the aggregate. It's not a straight line, right? It's sloppy. So when people promise you these ridiculous numbers, like guaranteed numbers, just immediately when you hear the word guarantee, you just say, well, that's clearly bullshit. You can guarantee nothing. It's not possible. Do you still like Ripple and XRP? No. I used to like Ripple and XRP. I used to like Ripple, the company, before Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Grand Larceny were basically caught being complete fraud fucking crooks. Basically selling tokens they had that they gave themselves without passing it through the investors in the company, by the way. They gave themselves tokens. They gave them to institutional investors at up to a 30% discount with no lockups. What do you think these dudes did? They went right to the market and sold that shit. So they basically gave people a 30% discount and let them buy and sell and buy and sell, so that Brad and Chris could sit back and say, we didn't dump on the market. It wasn't us. Yeah, no shit, dude. You didn't. You gave it to this asshole and he did. Like, yeah, but that's not us. That's not us. So, and then these dudes they go to court. They get racked by the SEC. They go to court. They lose, but they win part of their, well, they don't win. The cryptocurrency community wins because secondary market sales got determined to not constitute security sales as per the Howey test that the 1934 Securities Act. So yes, that part, but that's not a win for Ripple. Ripple didn't win shit. Ripple's still waiting to find out what their fine is going to be. It's somewhere between 125 million and, well, potentially over a billion, 1.2, 1.3 billion. It'll fall somewhere in there. So they appealed their decision thinking, oh, well, things are going to change. So they're like, yeah, there's going to be change. There's going to be change. Then the same assholes at Ripple go and put $25+ million to elect Kamala. Fucking morons. She's part of the machine that created Operation Choke Point and Choke Point 2.0, which is a concerted and admitted effort to shut down the cryptocurrency ecosystem completely, to cut off banks that do business with cryptocurrency companies, and to influence and threaten through Elizabeth Warren and her other assholeians to threaten anybody in any financial institution that works with crypto companies. And this isn't speculation. She's admitted it. Biden has inadvertently admitted it. And the FDIC vice chairman admitted it clear as day yesterday in a bunch of statements that he made. Like, by name, talked about Operation Choke Point. And all this stuff came out because of some Freedom of Information Act work that Coinbase did. So anyway, no, I'm not a fan of Ripple. Also, forget about the team of douchebags, and just think about what they're trying to do. That does make sense, right? Like having payment gateways to exotic corridors makes sense. People in Indonesia and Botswana and other unpronounceable countries should be able to move money around. They should be able to be marginally or somewhat banked, since they're mostly unbanked. They should be able to sell their widgets and shit for a lot of money, and they should be able to get that money. And you should be able to give your family money anywhere in the world, and that should be is as fast as a text. Money and currency should move as fast as a text. The fact that it doesn't means that there's some bullshit middlemen in the middle. They're just not allowing that to happen until they get their taste. That's the legacy system. They want their taste. They'll tell you it's so that they can fight crime, but that's fucking bullshit, because the most used currency for crime is paper US dollars, because it's mostly untraceable. If I do a cryptocurrency transaction, everyone in the world can spend 13 seconds on their phone and see what I did. If I give my buddy a duffel bag with $146,000 to buy a Stinger missile off the black, well, it wouldn't be that. It'd be a lot more. But let's say I bought myself a nasty terrorist thing off the interwebs. A duffel bag of cash keeps me a lot safer than a cryptocurrency transaction. I do it in crypto, I'm going to prison, dude. I'm going to a place where they use mirrors to give me sunlight for 18 minutes a day. All right. So the US dollar cash, that's the currency of crime, not fucking internet money where everyone on earth can see it forever in perpetuity. So, yeah. So Ripple's idea of having these corridors open makes sense, but it's not new. It's not innovative. It was new and innovative in 2017 and 2016. It's not unique now. What happened is their technology didn't really graduate, or it didn't improve. It's just stayed the same. There's nothing that XRP, the currency, can do now that everyone else can't do on every single layer 1 and layer 2. Really, you could say layer 2. Think of, has anybody here used Base? Has anybody here used Optimism? Has anybody here used Matic? How hard is it to send money? Not hard. How fast is it? Real fast. It's the same kind of argument with XLM, with Stellar Lumens. By the way, same creator, Jeb McCaleb. Also, by the way, same guy that sold MT Gox to Mark Karpellis. Interesting, don't you think? So Ripple is a joke. Their governance is a joke. Their whiny, scummy, fucking criminal executive staff is a joke. And their currency is just not needed. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with XRP, but it doesn't do anything spectacular that every single layer 2 can't do immediately, and probably cheaper. And also, their whole claim to fame, the XRP ledger, XRPL, it doesn't even need to use XRP. It doesn't burn XRP transactionally. It doesn't even benefit the community. So everybody that buys XRP needs to understand that, like buying MicroStrategy, you're giving money to Michael Saylor and his assholery, his group of douchebags. If you're okay with that, fine. You're the fucking product. If you buy XRP, cool. You're giving money to Brad and Chris and those other assholes to pay their staff, which is fine. But understand that that's what you're doing. Don't think that you're part of Web3, you're part of changing the world and all this other fucking romantic bullshit. You're not a part of anything but giving those dudes money. As long as you're okay with that, if you realize I'm just giving you money, it's digital merchandise. They might as well be fucking NFTs. These XRP might as well be NFTs because they do nothing. You're giving them money for free. Money, not currency. Well, you're giving them your currency units for their funny money token, which means nothing. Now, does it mean it won't go up? No, it probably will go up because there's a lot of sentimental dummies that come back in XRP. You know, XRP 4 or 5 years ago was something. It's a joke now. People haven't kept up. They're fresh back into crypto. Oh shit, this is XRP. Oh yeah, we're going to $10, bro. We're going to $100, bro. It's a great reset. $10,000, dude. Someone here take 100 billion, because that's how many tokens there are, and just put a price tag of $10,000 per token on there. And if you don't laugh and cough up all of your fucking breakfast looking at that number and imagining the idiots that believe that's achievable, and they are idiots, because I promise you no one at Ripple thinks that number is achievable. They don't even give a shit. They already sold all the tokens they need to. They're rich. Brad Garlinghouse quasi-legally and Chris Grand Larceny quasi-legally sold billions of dollars of these tokens. They are stinking fucking rich. They do not care what happens at this point. You can't wake up with any more give a shit in the tank. And the proof of that was how they behaved during the elections. Like, you don't need my point of view on this one. So, oh God, these guys. And it's frustrating too. Now, on the other side of it, I made a shit ton of money on Ripple. I mean, on XRP. Well, it was called Ripple back then, but on XRP, a lot. So I'm not a hater. I got it for less than 0.2 of a penny. So 0.2, like 5 for a penny. That was one of my very first purchases. Very first things I ever bought back in the day, way back in the day, was Bitcoin. Was the very first. Ethereum. Well, this was later on. So I bought Bitcoin before I bought anything else. And I just had Bitcoin for a while. And I was like, And then I went and I kind of said, okay, now I'm doing it. And I got some more Bitcoin. I got Ethereum. I got Litecoin. I got XRP and XLM. And within a year, I had averaged 128x. And I was like, holy shit. I didn't have any idea what I owned. I was like, wait. And then I went back and started researching. The only reason I bought XRP and XLM was this, because I figured, well, it makes sense to have some entity that could work with banks. This is when I was stupid and foolish, and I thought that legacy banks would want to work with crypto providers because they would want to lower their costs to provide better service to their patrons. That was silly of me, silly to think such silly things. I was a child then. I had childish things. But when I became an adult, I put my childish things as, what was that? Put my toys down, whatever. Anyway, that's back when I thought that legacy systems would want to use crypto rails to reduce fees. But that's not at all the case, as it turns out. It's not even close. So I bought all these and I made all this money, and then I wanted to go and research why these things were doing good, why they, what was doing good, what wasn't. But when you get to 2016, 2017, early 2018, everything you bought went up. Every single thing you bought, it went up. That was it. That was how it worked. And that wasn't real either. So most people got their asses handed to them. They got melted the middle of 2018, 2019, 2020 kind of quiet, but then COVID. So here comes the free money train. Free money train goes 2021. Yeah, 2022 NFTs and crash. All the big companies go away. $100 billion. Poof, it's gone. Plus all of the derivative exposure that people had, and everybody got wiped out. So then you go back, you say, okay, everybody starts rebuilding. 2023 happens. Those few of us that were in AI early, we all won the lottery again. So we won in 2017, we won in 2021 into 2022, we won in 2023 in AI. We won when Trump won in 2024. And so you've already had, and then I think we're going to win 2025, 2026 also. But we've learned a lot. And what we've learned is that a lot of times these companies will come out and their technology makes sense. And then 8 months later or a year later, it doesn't. Another example, did you guys see Charles Hoskinson breaking down like the whiny bitch that he always is at his little summit thing? The video's floating around, and he's like, we were there, we were right there, we were number 3 market cap. Yeah, hang on to that. Cardano was number 3 in market cap for about 14 milliseconds during September of 2021. Otherwise, it's been a fucking dumpster fire. They have never put out any software that moves the needle. Now, governance-wise, they've achieved a lot of cool things, and their architecture is amazing. But they never move the needle because no one cares. No one also no one cares that Tether is a complete fucking scam. No one cares at all that it's a farce. That there's just not money backing Tether. There's money, but not to the extent of which they say. Tether is a big fat giant counterfeiting Ponzi scheme, and no one cares. And what made Tether work is back in the beginning, it was the only stable coin that people kind of trusted. So people were moving it around, and the people at Tether, everybody, by the way, who's been indicted and found guilty, sentenced, and released, catch and release, and then signed cooperation agreements with the government in perpetuity, which is why Tether still exists. Every one of those scumbags, they were all buying with the funny money. They were selling you for real money, for real currency. They were taking their funny money, giving it to us for real currency. They were taking the real currency, and they were doing what? Well, they were buying Bitcoin and Ethereum when Ethereum was $16 and Bitcoin was, $420. So yeah, there's a lot of money over there, but none of it, but it's not from what they would claim it's from. And also they print Tether faster than money enters the banking system which they're in. And this is a structural problem that I don't know why people don't hang on this. More money enters and is printed by Tether than money that enters the banking system that they're in, which is the Bahamian banking system. Well, now they're going somewhere else. They're repatriating because they're probably on the run from the Panama police or whatever. But the banking system they're in one quarter, I remember they took in like $3.8 billion, that banking system, of cash, of US dollars. And Tether had, I think, released 12 or 15 billion dollars. Like, wait a minute. If the whole banking system, which you're a part of, if that entire system took in 3.8 billion, how did you guys mint 12 billion. Well, because money. What? Well, because of the money that we got. Where'd you get it? Well, because we got it from that one thing. What was that? You're trailing off there. What thing? What was that? What was that thing? It's all bullshit, and no one cares. So there's a lot of things that no one cares about. Ripple is another one that no one cares. No one cares that it's stupid and ridiculous and outdated because there's a lot of sunk cost fallacy. There's a lot of cognitive bias. There's a lot of people that they just don't do math very well. They don't realize that there's only so much free floating currency units, even if you count derivatives in the world. So if you take something, I know this hot chocolate has not worked at all. This has gone the wrong way. This hot chocolate is the worst thing for my cursing. Good though. So yeah, there's a lot of companies that when you look at the technology, if you do the 5 T's, you look at the team, the timing, the technology, you look at the tokenomics, and then you ask, why does the token exist? Token utility. You get to technology and go, oh, and you have to pull up brakes. Wait. Technology. They're not really changing anything. They're not doing anything now that everybody else can't do. This is the Ripple problem. This is why Ripple's just not, XRP's not interesting anymore. XLM's not interesting anymore. They don't do anything any faster or any cheaper than a layer 2 that you can create by the end of tonight. You can start right now, this morning, and by tonight, you too can launch a layer 2. You can copy and paste that shit into existence. I'm going to talk about one such project here in a little while called Sonium. Yes, Sony's layer 2. I know, crazy, right? Everybody can have a layer 2. It's so easy that that Mario and his clan, they're launching their own layer 2. They're like, why? What is that? Why? Why does Singularity DAO have a layer 2? We do for financial future. Like, what? What are you saying, you non sequitur ass? Like, what do you even mean? We were to create beneficial abundance. That doesn't mean anything. What do you use? Technology. What kind of technology? Mechanisms. What? People are so dumb. Anyway, yeah, junk is 6%. You guys are right. So anyway, yeah, exactly. Think about that. Off of 100K. Now run that out another 20 years. Now run that out another 20 years. I think if you run that out 4 times, it's all the money in the world. It's all the money in the world. So it's like, gosh, man, people are dumb. Anyway, yeah, I calculator won't go that high. So I guess the reality is, like, in this crypto space moving forward, this is why cognitive bias study is so important. You need to know to not get caught up in the whimsy and the bullshittery. You have to know what's reasonable and what's unreasonable. And you also have to know, like, when have you won? When is enough? Like, really, matter of fact, there's 156 people here. When is enough? I talk about this sometimes. What is your exit number? Like, if someone had a bag full of currency units or a bag full of Ledger hardware wallets, and they could give you a number, your number, the minimum, what is the minimum number that you will walk away, you will never invest again, you will never trade again, and you would never work again? What is the minimum number? I'm curious. What say you? Shannon, what's your minimum number? Your real, actual, I'll never do nothing ever again number. What would it have to be? 10 million? Let's see what people are saying. We got a 20 mil. You got a 5 mil. Cruising, you can't make it on 5 million. I don't know where you live, unless you live in sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah, or Thailand or something. Come on, guys. 5 million ain't going to cut it. Remember, your currency is getting debased at a minimum. The government's target 2% cuts your currency units' actual real value, your purchasing power, by 50% every 20 years. So cruising in 20 years, you only have 2.5 million. And buddy, 2.5 million ain't enough. So you got to think about that. 23.5. Barry, I like your style, buddy. I think 23.5, you could walk away. Kirill, yeah, I know you're in the 50 camp. You're in the 50 camp. Paul, get the number up. 10 million, Lisa, fair play. Rube, 35, fair play. 50, my old all-time high. Barry, damn, what was your all-time high? Jesus. Were you at 23.5 million, Barry? Holy smokes. Randy, 34, 10, 100 million. Michael, I like the way, you know what, Michael, cheers to you, buddy. I like the way you think. Remember, this is the minimum number that you'd have to walk away, and this would have to last forever. 10, 50, 19, 50, 25K a month. Yeah, but here's what I would say. I would stipulate, or I would caveat that, Green. I would say that you have to be 25K in current buying power above and beyond all bills, because people slowly expand their living circumstances to equal their income. This is the problem with humans, is we just keeping up with the Jonesing ourselves until we're at the event horizon of our earning potential. You know, at first you're making an extra 10K a month. And by the way, that's the number. We've talked about this before. That's the number where you experience kind of a wealth happiness, the same as a millionaire or a billionaire. If you have an extra $10,000 per month cash, extra means every single bill is paid, all your debt service, all your liabilities, everything's paid, and you have an extra 10K a month, you have 90% the happiness of the richest people in the world. And if at that point you're not happy, you're probably just an unhappy person. You'll never be fucking happy, because there's no way to make you happy. But that's what it takes. 500 million, Jesus, Lotus. I don't know where you're partying, but I'm going to Lotus's Cloud City. 15, 20, have to be over $1 billion. See, Mike, you're a worker. I'll tell you what, you and Lotus get together. You guys probably have some kind of Facebook up your sleeve. Jen, all right. I see this uber wealthy crew. You know what? If a little bit of hyperinflation, you guys might become billionaires. We might all be billionaires. 25 million, I'm out of the US to Africa. Interesting. Where would you go in Africa? Yeah, shit, I don't know, man. It'd be access to healthcare. That's the problem. Chunk of factory knows. Well, that might be good too. 15, 17, as long as I can put some into REITs and dividend paying stocks. Yeah. But this is under the contention that you can't invest anymore. This is a pile of money that you've got, and that's it. So whatever your original off the cuff number was, it also depends on where you live. Whatever your off the cuff number was, if you plan on living 20 more years, double it. If you plan on living 40 more years, quadruple it. So if you thought 10 million was enough, but you're going to live 40 more years, and guess what? Unless everybody here gets hit by a bus, almost everybody here, even if you're in your elderly years, it's very likely that advances in science from AGI and really complex AI kind of swarms and, agent networks and agent systems. I like how everybody's like, AI agents is like a new thing. What do you mean fucking new? They've been discussing AI agents since the 70s, 1970. This isn't a new term. Jesus Christ. But anyway, it's cool now. AI agents. That's what RWA was. Real world assets. Okay, so what is this phone? Well, you got yourself a real world asset. Oh, okay, awesome. RWA, I guess, is like a new thing. Why? So they can slap an RWA logo on some bullshit company like Cogito, and people give them money because the first 3 versions of what their company did failed to fucking zero. Sorry, near zero. 2 cents. So, yeah. So you just have to think about all these things. So, you probably got to take your number realizing that AI and AGI systems are probably going to get us the advances in science that make everybody here live at least another 40 years. Even if you're an old, crotchety old codger who's angry, who screams, "Get off my lawn!" So what's that little thing that you're like, you put on your neck? Like that thing. Even if you're that guy, there's a good chance you got 40 more years you're going to have to clock in. Meaning your number has to be what it is now, it's got to be 4 times higher. You start realizing, dear God, we're never going to escape doing. So there is no end. I guess the answer is there is no number. When you guys are thinking of a number, there's no number. There's no exit number. You will always have to do forever. There's no quitting. There's no retiring. There's no stopping. You might take your foot off the gas pedal at your own risk. There is no exit ever, unless the Grim Reaper is like standing at your front door and he's like, "Yeah, I was looking at my watch and it's about time." That's about it. Otherwise, everybody here is investing forever. Everybody here is going to be managing their money forever. So when you put this in the context of this is for the rest of my life, make sure you're doing the appropriate amount of work and effort behind the scenes to build up this skill set so that investing it's not easy or hard. It's just a thing that you do. You do your research, you analyze these things, you pay attention to trends, you pay attention. None of you are ever going to be able to quit watching the news or quit paying attention or quit looking at the macro, right? Pricing and yield curves and behavior, we're going to have to pay attention to this forever, at least until AGI is here and we have agent systems and agent networks and AGI beings that are doing this for us. Because until then, we never retire, we never quit, ever. You do not get to stop. If you want to stop, that's fine, but you'll find that you may not be able to catch up. But if you don't stop, you will be able to catch up and probably surpass most people, because 99 out of 100 people, they're not trying to do all this. They're not trying to give a shit. They're trying to go clock in, clock out, have someone else tell them what to do, how to, go over here, do this, carry this. Okay. Oh, here's your check. Thanks, man. Okay, go spend it. If you have anything left, buy some beer. See you Monday. Yeah. We'll watch some football. Yeah. Bread and Circus. Anybody know where that's from? Bread and Circus? Somebody's going to nail it. Anyway, no one here gets to exit. Everybody's going to be working. And that's why these tools, if you build these tools now, it's easy. Yes, Rome, but who specifically? There's one person that's known for making the quote. Come on. One of you is going to get it. Juvenile, man. Juvenile. Come on. Anyway, I think you could probably just Google Bread and Circus. Who said that? And it would pop up. No, not Nero. No. God. Boy, you got Chiro. Come on, buddy. Yes. All right. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk Robinhood. This is actually kind of interesting. I'm not a fan of Robinhood. I have not been ever. So Robinhood settles their SEC investigation for $45 million, which there was a lot more damage than $45 million. But this specific investigation it had to do with a bunch of securities laws violations. Now, would anybody here get to settle if you had feloniously violated securities laws? Does anybody here think you would get to just settle with the U.S. government and everything would be fine? No big deal. You just committed a bunch of felonies. You're cool. Just settle. Just pay a little old fine. Just get you a little fine. That's all. There were some other accusations against Robinhood include misreporting trades, fraud, delayed suspicious activity reports, fraud, among other things, inadequate customer safeguards. That's just plain lying. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court declined Binance's appeal in a class action lawsuit alleging unregistered security sales. This is in addition to the exchange's growing list of global legal troubles. Additionally, the U.S. indicted 3 Russians. You know why? They broke the 2 Russian rule. You can have 2 Russians in a company. If you have 3, actually, if you have 2 Russians and they're in executive positions, I'm out. I'm out. More than 1 Russian, bad. 2 Russians, dangerous. 3 Russians, someone's going to jail. 100%. Right? Look at Celsius, 1 Russian with a big personality. His personality was that of 2 people. Guess what? That violates the 2 Russian rule. Going to jail. So, U.S. indicted 3 Russians for operating crypto mixers Blender.io and Sinbad.io, accusing them of laundering funds linked to cyber crimes. They were like hooking up the North Koreans. Scullery bunch, those guys. Robinhood reaches $45 million settlement with the SEC. Robinhood agreed to a $45 million settlement with the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission after an investigation uncovered violations of more than 10 securities law provisions. That means that's what they discovered. How many do you think that these guys got away with? If the SEC, which is, let's face it, they're not the sharpest tool in the shed. They're like as sharp as fucking bowling ball. If these guys could figure it out, the same guys that let Bernie Madoff run his Ponzi scheme for 8 years, after another branch of the SEC informed the SEC, it took 8 more years after the SEC knew that Madoff was a scam, knew it was a fucking Ponzi scheme. It took 8 more years to shut him down. Just think about that for a second. This is who you're dealing with. Gary, big-eyed, weird, punchable face Gensler and his just band of idiots. If they can pin 10 crimes on you, you've done 110. Anyway, the meager penalty affects Robinhood Securities LLC and Robinhood Financial, both of which failed to meet a wide range of regulatory requirements. And there's this big list, and I'm not going to go through it because we all know that Robinhood is garbage. Nobody here should have an account with Robinhood, right? Like you guys aren't. You guys are smarter than that. Yes? No one here should have a Robinhood account. Not active anyway. Anyway, some of these crimes and inaccuracies in reporting trading activity, non-compliance with short sale rules, delayed filings of suspicious activity reports, which is what is it called? The SAR? What is that? A SAR 80? It's a suspicious activity report. A buddy of ours used to work for Treasury. I think it's a SAR. Anyway, whatever. Delayed filing of suspicious activity reports, failure to maintain and preserve customer communication, inadequate safeguarding of customer information. Oh, don't forget, they were monetizing their customers by going payment for order flow and pushing it through specific firms so they could get kickbacks. Then they were trading against their clients. Then when their clients were on the winning end of it with all the GameStop shit, they just froze everyone's accounts and didn't let anyone sell. They made it where you could still buy, but you couldn't sell. Oh, it's not working. The sell button's not working. Oh, that's crazy. Because if you could sell, you'd bankrupt Robinhood and Citadel. But because you can't sell, I guess everything's fine. Because they made the button not work. Man, how those dudes aren't in prison. Like, it's unbelievable. Anyway, the SEC's order was released on January 13th and revealed that Robinhood entities admitted to certain findings, including the failure to preserve electronic communications from customers between 2020 and 2021. Oh, weird. So while all that stuff was happening, somehow they lost all those electronic communications. That's weird, right? Like the time that they would be indicted and all those guys would be, held accountable for all of the sketchy behavior. They just lost all of the customer communications for like 2 years. That's so weird. I guess it's like accidents happen, right? Kind of like Hillary Clinton. Like, remember when she just like made all that paperwork disappear with shredding machines? Like, I mean, accidentally, obviously. And don't worry, because it was only like 14 or 15,000 documents that directly implicate her that she had illegally removed from. Oh, I mean, no big deal though. That's probably just an accident too, right? Like when serial killers hide bodies and stuff, they just accidentally bury them. That's all. Robinhood also submitted more than 11,849 electronic blue sheets with errors or omissions. Okay. So you do your taxes, and you go through TurboTax, and it's like, oh, you made 3 errors. You got to go fix those 3 errors. Oh, okay. You can't even file your taxes until you fix those three like yellow exclamation marks. You can't file your tax. You can't push file. You can't even pay the IRS if you have one of those little errors left. But Robinhood submitted 11,849 erroneous sheets, blue sheets with errors or omissions, meaning they just didn't fill it in. Just like, oh, well, it caused it to accidentally, of course. It's an accident. It could have happened to anyone, but it just happened to them. It caused them to misreport data for 392 million transactions. No big deal, right? 392 million accidental error or omission, erroneous transactions were filed. Whoops. Oh, shit. Did we get that wrong? Oh, was that also in the same time where we were being investigated for corruption during the Stomp meme coin phase? Oh, weird. Yeah, that's just a weird coincidence. What's 392 million transactions one way or the other, right? Additionally, Robinhood did not report suspicious activity quickly enough between January of 2020 and March of 2022. Wait, so 26 months. So there's a 26-month window of whoops, buddy. You get 3 weeks. You get a month, even a month. Oh God, yeah, our system was messed up for a month. You don't get 26 months, man. Oh God. Let's see. They also failed to implement sufficient identity theft protection measures between April of 2019 and July of 2020. So now we're getting on 40 months. So 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. We're past your average car lease. 392 million fraudulent transactions were filed. 11,849 erroneous blue sheets were filed. Basically, no fucking reporting for 4 years. In that weird window of when they were openly committing crime, like $45 million. They get a fine of $45 million. The regulator also pointed out Robinhood's non-compliance with Regulation SHO, which addresses abusive short-selling practices from December 2019 to May 2022. Again, 2020, 2021, 2022. Like pretty soon, you're talking about a full car lease of corruption and crime. In 2021, a cybersecurity vulnerability allowed unauthorized access to customer information involving millions of accounts. Both Robinhood Securities and Robinhood Financial admitted to specific findings in the SEC's order and agreed to be censured. Ooh. Robinhood Securities will pay $33.5 million, while Robinhood Financial will pay $11.5 million, with the total $45 million penalty due by January 27th. We're not going to get into how much money they made off of this litany of felonies, but it's many, many tens of billions. I want to say that again. Tens of billions in profit from a system that was corrupt beyond obvious. They paid a $45 million penalty. This is the same shit as when companies dump oil into the water and they just pay the $50,000 a day fee. Like, and they're like, well, yeah. They're like, we caught you dumping. Yeah, you're right. Here it is, 50 grand. And they do 150 million years worth of toxic poisoning to the ocean. But it's cool. They paid their $50,000 fine. Like, come on. They bought carbon credits, so they're allowed to dump shit right in the oil because they bought carbon credits. Like, it's like mind-boggling, this shit. It's so when you hear guys like Elon say and Ramaswamy, Vivek, when you hear them say we're going in there and we're gonna start cutting people free, cutting people loose, cutting down this bulk and this bullshit, and kind of getting to the bottom. It's about time. Like, a lot of these dudes should go to jail. They won't, because these guys never go to jail, but they got to go away. Like, I can't wait, buddy. I'm January 20th can't come no sooner. Actually, January 19th, because that's when we can tell Gary Gensler to go fuck himself. It's going to be good. Oh, it's going to be good. I'll bet you Bitcoin jumps just on Gensler's official resignation. He knows it. There's going to be a party. There's going to be a Gensler resignation party, I bet. I would have one. Anyway, it's still unclear if Robinhood's cryptocurrency business played a role in these violations. However, the company's crypto division settled with California last September for $3.9 million over allegations of restricting customer withdrawals between 2018 and 2022. Think about that. Robinhood, they didn't admit or deny wrongdoing, but they paid a fine of $3.9 million for telling you for 4 fucking years that you can't take your money. Hey, I have money. Can I have it? I need to pay rent. Nope. Like, well, but it's my money. No. What do you mean no? Yeah. Well, I need it. I got to pay my rent. Nope. Come back in 4 years after we've paid a fine. Then you can have it. What? 4 years? Dude, I'd be finding those 2 assholes in their Teslas and flipping that shit over. Anyway, if you can, those batteries are very heavy. Those cars are heavy. Anyway, despite their regulatory challenges, Robinhood's crypto operations have seen a lot of growth recently. Well, why? Because of all these dumbasses that are meme coin pumping. Anyway, in the third quarter, crypto trading volume increased by 112% year on year to 14.4 billion, while revenue from crypto trading surged by 165% to 61 million. Remember, this is just in the crypto side. Their retail side for regular equity exposure, that's way bigger. So think about the money that's generated, the billions of dollars that are generated, while these guys just fraud, crime, theft, identity fraud, security. I mean, God, dude, bunch of pieces of shit. Anyway, don't have a Robinhood account. You don't want them to just keep your shit for 4 years, pay some fine that some lawyer finagled, and then you get your money back 4 years later. Can you imagine having like $3-4 million over there and you don't get it? You have to wait for 4 years, dude. Anyway, okay, real quick. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin ETF shines amid the sector outflows and expands to Canada. That's right. America Light, codename Canada. BlackRock has expanded iShares Bitcoin Trust to Canada after leading the U.S. Bitcoin ETF inflows. So BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust emerged as a bright spot in an otherwise kind of gloomy period for U.S. Bitcoin exchange traded funds, which saw their third consecutive day of net outflows on January 13th, meaning there was, of course, you guys saw Bitcoin was getting kicked in the dick. Of course, there were outflows. Retail traders are not hanging around for that shit. They're panicking out. They panicked in, they're panicking out. According to data from Farside, Bitcoin ETF market recorded a total net outflow of 284.1 million. However, BlackRock's IBIT stood with a 29.5 million inflow. Why? Because BlackRock's over there telling people, dude, you need to be buying when all these other assholes are panic selling. You need to be buying. And guess what? Everybody that listened made money. They made 4, 5, 6% in about 18 hours because they didn't panic like little bitches. Isn't that crazy? All right. Hold on. I don't want to subscribe. No. All right. Over the past trading days, cumulative outflows across the sector surpassed 1 billion. This trend indicates potential shifts in institutional investment strategies or evolving market sentiment around Bitcoin. What a blank statement. It either has to do, listen, this price action shows you that people are either changing their mind or evolving sentiment. So what? So people are either thinking or they're doing. Wow. What a reach. These guys really getting out on that cautious, on the curve, right? Like, whoa, they're prognosticating. Anyway, notably, Bitcoin's price had declined to a 2-month low of 89,400 before recovering to 96,828. Pretty big jump. IBIT expands its exposure to Canadian markets. BlackRock is extending its reach into the Bitcoin ETF space by launching its iShare Bitcoin ETF IBIT in Canada. The development follows the fund's notable success in the United States. So if anybody's curious if BlackRock if they're over it, if they're over Bitcoin, no, buddy. They're just getting started. According to the press statement, the Canadian rollout includes two versions of the ETF. One trades under the ticker IBIT on the CBOE Canada, while a US-denominated version is listed as IBIT.U. So these ETFs offer investors exposure to Bitcoin by tracking its performance before deducting fund-related expenses. The iShares Bitcoin ETF primarily invests in US-traded IBIT, which holds Bitcoin as a long-term asset. The structure allows investors to access Bitcoin through traditional brokerage accounts without dealing with custody or the operational challenges of learning how to use crypto exchanges like Coinbase, because, they're so confusing. And so now I will say Web3 wallets are, but most people aren't using Web3 wallets to manage their Bitcoin. If you do have a private wallet for Bitcoin, you send it there and you keep it there, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, your shit stays on Coinbase or Kraken, and that's about the end of it. So this is kind of cool. Good for them. BlackRock's decision to expand IBIT follows its exceptional performance in the U.S., where it achieved a top 1% ranking among ETFs by asset. Over the past year, IBIT has been recognized as one of the most successful ETF launches in history. So, again, Bitcoin is the winner. What's the next Bitcoin? Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. What's the new Bitcoin? Bitcoin. All right. And then finally, because anyone can launch a layer 2, Sonium. It's a little on the nose, but okay. Sony launches Sonium blockchain, but I guess the meme coin restrictions have left a lot of dummies frustrated. There's a lot of idiots that are like, wait, I can't trade my meme coins. This is bullshit. What am I going to do with the money from my tip jar from last night at the strip club? Anyway, Sony launches its layer 2 blockchain platform, Sonium, aiming to bridge Web 2 and Web 3. Good thing Sony's doing this because no one in the crypto space thought about this. So thanks, Sony. Thanks for coming to the game. You're only 15 years late. The platform faces backlash, however, for blacklisting certain meme coins due to intellectual property rights, frustrating some users. Again, none with an IQ over 68, but some of them. Matter of fact, the users that were frustrated are so technically stupid, I'm surprised they have the cognitive capacity to create the emotion of frustration. I bet they just sat there grinding their teeth and like shaking, and people were like, they must be frustrated. Anyway, the controversy sparks debate on blockchain control and decentralization with significant financial impacts on the affected tokens. Sony Block Solutions Labs, which is a subsidiary of Sony, officially launched its layer 2 blockchain platform, Sonium, like Sun, S-O-N-E-M, E-I-U-M, designed to bridge the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. Sonium aims to empower creators, fans, and communities by providing a decentralized, user-friendly ecosystem that will not include meme coins. The platform, which leverages the op stack, that's really why I wanted to read that to you. So again, what did they create? Nothing. They built on top of the op stack. They built on top of optimism. And this is the op stack and the super chain technology, which is developed by the Optimism Foundation, has already processed 47 million transactions during its testnet phase, which is pretty cool. I guess the only other bit is just the controversy over the meme coin restrictions, those 68 IQ dummies. Despite the excitement, Sonium faced backlash from some members of the crypto community due to their decision to blacklist certain meme coins on the network's launch day. The blacklisting reportedly due to intellectual property rights infringements, which if I'm Sony, I probably do pay attention to property rights, intellectual property rights infringement. It left many users frustrated as they found themselves slobbering, wearing helmets, licking windows while they took their small yellow buses to school because they couldn't trade their bullshit tokens. Financial impact. The meme coin restrictions specifically target tokens that mimic or use branding deemed protected by Sony or Sonium. As a result, users attempting to access these tokens received a forbidden alert. Foreboding. The move sparked outrage among like 6 people, with several social media posts expressing dissatisfaction. I didn't even know. Elon, the synonymous founder of Pump.Fun, criticized the platform for actively blacklisting meme coins they don't like, instantly nuking everyone's position to zero. No, it doesn't nuke your position to zero. If you bought a meme coin, you're at zero. That's the whole point. These guys are so stupid. My God. The financial impact, this is funny. The financial impact has been significant. For instance, the meme coin Aibo, inspired by Sony's robot dogs, was valued at a it's hard to say it with straight face, at 700,000 before being blacklisted. I don't know if people understand how crypto works. I don't think that these dudes on Twitter understand 700,000 is a fucking rounding error. You're not getting out of bed for 700,000 market cap. That means 6 of us can create a $700,000 market cap, like 6 of us, with our laptops staring at each other, wearing in our underwear, with our helmets on, getting ready for the yellow bus to take us to school, because I guarantee you that's what we're doing. The developers of the affected developers, these are dudes that spin up tokens at Pump.Fun. The developers of the affected tokens are now working with Sonium to resolve the issue, and some are considering rebranding to comply with the intellectual property requirements. The thing is, with meme coins, it's only about the branding. There is nothing else. There's nothing going on. Oh, God. Jesus, these people are such fucking morons. Anyway, balancing control and decentralization. This controversy ignited a broader debate within, 6 people in the crypto community about the level of control the blockchain developed. Okay, let me just fast forward. No one in crypto gives a fuck about Sonium, and even less people give a fuck about these 6 people that feel like they're having their rights stepped on because they can't make their scammy fucking coins. No one cares. No one. When I say no one, I don't like to speak in absolute terms. Shannon, do you care? No, neither do I. That's it. That is 100%. No one right now in this house, my cats don't care. That's 4 of us. None of us. 0. Fucking no one cares. Anyway, Sonium, everyone. Sonium. Don't go launch your meme coins there. All right, let's call it a day. Yeah, I know. God, it's so stupid. It's mind-boggling. But anyway, good for Sony, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know how to react to that. Let's see. FYI, OpenAI just appointed Oglesian from BlackRock to their board. Yeah. The fix is in, boys. I'm long crypto. We'll see you tomorrow. Stay in school. Don't do drugs. Don't do anything my poor insolvent drunk sucking a meth grandmother or Brandon wouldn't do. We'll see you Wednesday. Same bat time, same. Oh, I can't say that. That's probably that's some intellectual stuff too. I can't say that.
Terrified, wandering mind, the seams have come undone. You've been telling lies to these eyes as if they'd never seen the sun. Now you've let your guard down and your heart is exposed. Now you've let your guard down, but how could you have known that I'm the big fish round here? You're a small fish. I could make you disappear. You should know this. I'm the big fish round here. You're a small fish.